Thank you for staying with us on KTN Sunrise Live. It is Inspirational Tuesdays, as we do every single week. We're talking to Kenyans like you, like me, who try to make a change in their lives. So it's moving it beyond what they're good at, what their talents are, what they do to earn a living every day, to saying, in the community in which I thrive, I want to be able to do something. Suzanne Owiyo is one such artist from all the way back, Kisumu 100, which is a song that launched her to Kenyans officially, all the way to being what I would like to call a Pan-African artist, is the new Goodwill Ambassador for the UNEP. And in conjunction with them, she's got a brand new petition and cause that's out. And she will be telling us about this, and we will talk to her about her music and her cause and how she's using that music, that recognition, that position in society to be able to do something about it. Suzanne, we're so glad you will join us here today.
Thank you, Yvonne.
All right, and it's interesting today because our discussion with you, though we would love to have you perform, but this is about something much bigger, and that's what we will be discussing today. So it's really a pleasure to have you with us. So tell us, you have a new feather in your cap. You are now the Goodwill Ambassador for UNEP.
Yes, actually, let me correct it. It's the National Goodwill Ambassador.
National Goodwill Ambassador.
Yes.
Okay, great. Tell us about how this came to be. Did you approach UNEP? Did they approach you? Was it one of those coming together of minds? How that came to be?
UNEP approached me, and they had asked me to send my CV, and which I did, and I didn't know this was really coming. And I must say, I felt it was an exciting moment for me, and one of the moments that, of course, that I really felt that as a musician, it was one of the moments, each and everyone would long to just be in that position. Right. I mean, I couldn't believe it, and I was like, wow. Then that was sometime in February this year, and together with Eric Wanena, we are both appointees for the National Goodwill Ambassador of UNEP National Goodwill Ambassador. And so yes, that came, and yes, and I've started my role as a Goodwill Ambassador. And this has seen me engage. One of the things I thought when I heard of partnering with UNEP, and I thought, wow, it's environmental. Yeah. And I became, since that day, I became more cautious about my surrounding. Right. Right. And some of the things we do, actually, not knowing that we are causing, we are endangering various species, or we are causing harm to our environment. So I'm a bit cautious. Okay. Now. So a bit more aware now as a result of this, and we'll talk about that in just a moment from now. So you are the National Goodwill Ambassador for UNEP. What does that entail exactly? They, asked you for your CV, and it is what it is now. That you and Eric Wanena have been appointed for that. But let's talk about then what it means for you as an artist and the work and the collaboration between you and UNEP. The most important thing is they expect me to generate public interest on environmental activities or environmental issues, and also inspire positive action in support of UNEP's work. So mainly through my constituency, i.e. my fans. Right. And if I'm able to reach out also to, for example, policymakers, just to help support what UNEP has been doing in managing or caring for our environment. Okay. Yes. So like you mentioned, this then makes you more aware. So it even helps perhaps, on a personal level, you start to look around and you say, there's some things that we do, on a day-to-day basis that may not necessarily be good for our environment. And you mentioned the fact that you're now more alive and aware to some of the things that we do. So let's talk about that for a minute. When you look around and you see there's things that we do, ordinarily, perhaps without giving it a second thought, that may be harmful to our environment. I think one of it is littering. Littering.
Yes.
And there's so many issues or activities that UNEP has been involved in. We talk of climate change, talk of harmful substances, talk of environmental governance. So some of these you find they are between our, we live with them, and we as human beings, we contribute a lot in destroying our environment. So I think the public, we should try and create that awareness or engage the public to ensure that they come in handy and help sensitize the public on the importance of managing our environment.
I like that you mentioned that we do a lot of harm to our environment. I think as human beings, do you think we get that as Kenyans, that a lot of our actions contribute to the decline in good climate in the country? Are we still at that level yet where we understand that my actions, because surely we cannot blame the wild animals which do what they do, but do you think many of us understand the role that we play in harming the environment in the country?
I think many of us are to blame because we cause harm to the environment. Talk of for example, deforestation, or we cut down the trees and stuff. We plant them, but there's need for us we still use charcoal, for example, and we know cutting down the trees that has a side effect towards the environment. So I believe we as a public we have to try and see how we can come in to ensure that we protect our surrounding. Yes.
Okay. All right. And of course, the role that you will be playing is helping raise awareness on some of these issues through your constituency. I like that you mentioned that. So, as part of this new responsibility that has been bestowed upon you, you started something called Soko Bila Waste.
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, this came about almost at the same time when UNEP was marking the milestone of universal membership from 58 to 193, if I'm not wrong. And they had this theme that was launched at the same time called Think, Eat, Save, which is a global campaign on food waste reduction. And I thought, since various organizations have come up with different initiatives to support the cause outside Kenya, I thought of coming out and see how I can engage Kenyans to support the same campaign, the Think It Safe. So I came up with an initiative called Soko Bila Waste, aimed at sensitizing the public on the importance of reducing on the food waste. I'm talking of the good waste.
Okay.
Not
the human waste. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And
I'm talking of the good waste.
At the market.
Waste. Yes. They say food waste happens at various food chains, from production to transportation, disposal, consumption, and also can I say retail, and also disposal. I think I mentioned that, but I wanted to tackle one. I cannot tackle all at a time. Right. So I thought of dealing with the end chain, which is the retail and consumption, because I think we have to also deal with behavior here. What is our behavior towards food? What makes it? What makes us waste the food? So I thought of targeting our local markets to start with, and I've had opportunity to do a Reiki in different markets. I'm talking of Gikomba, talking of Marikiti, and one of the reasons I want to understand, I don't want to assume, I want to understand if at all there's waste in the market, what causes the waste, and then my approach is to talk to women vendors and see how I can engage them in this process. I'm not saying I'm leaving the male vendors, but I think as a woman I'm more passionate about issues affecting women.
Absolutely.
So, and women are the majority vendors.
Yes. When you go to the markets.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So this is something I thought of, and we have an activity tomorrow, World Environment Day, and Soko Bila Waste supports the theme for the day, which is Think It's Safe that I mentioned. So my point is I've reached out to various female personalities to come on board and so that we can appreciate and just get to know challenges facing our women vendors in the market, and also appreciate them because of the harsh condition, for example, they go through, and also they're instrumental in making sure that the produce reaches the consumer. Something we have to really credit them for.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. You've said you've gone to some of the markets and you've seen it for yourself without, sitting in a studio like this and saying that we are making assumptions about what happens at the market as regards food. And when you went to the market, what did you find? Are there serious cases of wastage in certain parts, and how does it occur?
I think different markets have different stories, just like different vendors. I mean, if you have a fishmonger,
right,
he'll tell you or she'll tell you a different story on the difficulties or the challenges they face in terms of storage, and fish, taco fish, or those perishable goods. There's this vendor I met, and he was like, wow, this is what we lack. So I'm like, they've been having a storage facility there, but it's stalled, it doesn't. So what they're doing now, using they're buying ice, different.
So there's ice packs and everything.
Ice packs in sacks.
Wow.
But that cannot. I mean, it melts. It cannot stay for a whole day.
That's
so
right.
they spend so much trying to preserve the fish. Then I'm like, I just want to find these challenges they face. For example, what can be done? Are there ways, innovative ways we can come up with to support? To see how we can solve the problem. It doesn't have to be now,
right,
but one of the main aim is to understand if at all they are wasted, food wasted, what causes it. That is the Gikomba market. I believe with a fishmonger, if you're a fishmonger, he has a different story, she has a different story. Then come to somebody selling tomatoes, somebody selling vegetables, for example. And what I keep on asking myself after engaging myself with them is I came to realize, even us as consumers, we have to be cautious, and we contribute a lot in the food waste. For example, if I go to the market and I get a broken carrot, for example, and I know supermarkets also have standards.
Yes.
Like, you cannot have a broken carrot in the supermarket.
That's right.
What is what makes, or what would be wrong? I don't see anything wrong if we have stalls, for example, or if we have places that can sell that broken carrots, but it's still fresh food at a reasonable price. So you get me.
All right. Okay. Understood. Because I know about the fish. My goodness, I only know this in my mother tongue. After they've filleted the fish. And then they sell that now, I know, in the low-income areas in the slums around Nairobi, so that people can have, some fish as well, so that it's not that it's completely thrown out. We can share it in mother tongue, because in my mother tongue, I think it's called a shibambala. So they've removed the fillet.
I don't know
it in English.
I know what you mean.
Okay.
And
but that's an initiative, right?
That is an initiative, and I'm very grateful. I went to City Market, and after they've removed
filleted the fish.
The fillet of the fish, and then you have the head and the bones.
Right.
It's not. They don't throw it away. There are women who come and collect that. They buy it, and they even sell it, to the guys in the estates. And I'm like, wow. At least they're taking that. I mean, they're cautious, and they've taken it upon themselves to waste.
To waste and throw away food. Okay. So some of the challenges, of course, that the traders face in terms of not being able to reduce wastage is storage, like you mentioned. So they sort of need a place where they can store the food. Susanna, what happens to the food, that goes bad with the retailers? And we know what it is, that they come in for the day. It's not like they have shops, and stalls where they can keep food. They come in with the produce of the day from up country, they sell, and then they go home and, come back the next day with fresh produce from the farms. But what happens to what they're not able to sell by the end of the day?
That is what part of my mission to find out, as I mentioned, because I've spoken to a couple of women vendors, and also they are also in, they really don't know what to do, a lot of it is caused by the consumer. For example, consumer wanting to buy fresh produce every day.
That's
so
true.
It's a challenge on their end if they don't have good storage facility. It's a big challenge for them to convince a consumer, just take this. I mean, this tomato is going bad in 2 days. Can you just have it?
I know.
I can sell it for a reasonable price.
Okay.
So it's something that we need to sensitize, like I said, both the public. It's about everyone. It's about our behavior. So it calls for everyone to be cautious. There's food waste also in our homes.
Okay. Yeah, let's get into that.
That's even worse, believe you me. We have different habits when it comes to our eating habits, and part of it, some of us even don't know the food shelf life. For example, even the storage, how you store your food in the fridge, for example, and also the leftovers. I don't know how many people, but leftovers, you can use leftovers to create
new
meals.
Different types of meals, yes.
And you can donate, So I'm trying to look at how we can also reduce that in our household, because I believe, and women are the managers in their kitchens.
Yes.
In the kitchens.
Yes.
I don't know about bachelors. If bachelors cook, but we'll come to that.
I think they cook for the day.
For the day?
Finish for the meal, in fact. It's cook that,
and then bachelors are more into junk, if you ask me.
Oh, that's right.
Do they cook?
Yeah, there you go.
And what happens when they buy that junk food in the house? They still throw it away, so it goes to waste.
Exactly. So there's a lot that also happens in our households that we need to pay attention to. You recall maybe when we were growing up, our parents would say, finish everything that's on your plate, because there's people someplace else, who don't have a meal, and some of the things that we took for granted, but that is obviously very important for us to consider.
It is, and I remember sharing this same issue with a friend, and she told me that in her house she makes sure that every Friday it's a day for leftovers. A day for leftovers.
Right.
You cook from Monday
to Thursday.
To Thursday. Then what happens with the leftovers, for example? So she tries her best to make sure that she makes or she creates a meal with the leftovers, and I think that's, for me, it's also a good way of also it's a good way to engage or to just show support on the food waste.
All right. Even as we talk about this, what are the effects of wastage? You've gone to the markets and still trying to find solutions, and I like the fact that it's not walking in and prescribing a solution and saying, right, okay, vendors, here we go, this is what you do. People in your homes, this is what you do. It's talking to them and seeing the issues they face, and also seeking homegrown solutions that they can own and participate in. But what's the flip side of that? When we have all of this wastage in the market, when we have this wastage in our homes, with leftovers that you live in the fridge, by the time you come back it's moldy and everything, you toss it out in the trash. What are we doing to our environment? What happens with all this wasted food? And really, what does it say about us as a people?
I think I shared. I went to see one of the officers from Environment Department of Nairobi City County, and they're also partnering with me for tomorrow's event. And they're saying a lot of waste they get from markets is huge. It's about 2,000 tons.
2,000 tons?
2,000 tons.
A day or?
A day.
A day?
So you can imagine how much they deal with, they have to deal with. And where do they dump it? In Dandora. That's right. And I just heard that Dandora was declared full some years back. So what happens? This is also helpful to the people living in Dandora.
That's
so it's
right.
a health hazard to people living in Dandora.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's just think we're putting pressure on, the governments and those who are responsible for managing the waste. We're putting pressure on the areas in which the waste is being dumped. So it has a long-term effect. I think that we need to think about when we have wastage in our homes and wastage at the market, that there's a ripple effect that it causes elsewhere, and I guess that's important for us to understand. So you're launching this tomorrow. So tell us a bit about the launch and what to expect.
An activity happening in Marikiti, and I have confirmed female personalities who have come on board to support the cause. So it's a 2-year, for now, let me just say it's a 2-year project.
Okay.
And this is sort of, it's an entry point. So we want to see, we still have other chains we want to tackle, but this is mainly, the market is phase 1. And I have various partners who have come on board, including St. George's Girls Secondary School.
Okay.
I have the Nairobi City County. I have, there's a youth group called One Stop. What else? I have, of course, UNEP on board, and the female personalities, likes of Catherine Kasabuli, Chizuga, we have Avril, Amani, quite a number.
Okay.
Lilian.
All right.
And Kiguta.
Okay.
Yes.
So they'll be all with you at
They'll be there
Marikiti tomorrow.
at Marikiti.
Okay.
Trading places with the women vendors. So
that's
we will
big.
for a couple of minutes, and then we'll followed by cleanup activity later. Yes,
Okay, of the
yes.
market. So I like that they'll be trading places with them.
Yes.
So one time only, you go to Marikiti tomorrow?
Yes, yes.
And you will be buying your
very
vegetables.
early in the morning.
Yes, by the way.
Very early in
That's
the
the thing about markets that people don't understand. I remember my mother waking up at the before the crack of dawn. When we were waking up in the morning, she was already back from the market, having bought vegetables and fish and whatnot for the week. So it's something that will definitely be happening very early. So this happens tomorrow, and then of course it happens over the course of 2 years. What's the main message that you think people should get out of this activity and out of after the 2 years, perhaps you will review and say, okay, you'll probably want to change it and see who you want to target now in the next phase of it. But when you look back on this a year from today, a year from tomorrow, when you start with your first activity, what do you think, what do you hope will have happened in the minds of Kenyans?
I think for me, I believe that cutting down the amount of food that goes to waste on our farms, in markets, in the restaurants, which I forgot to mention, and also in the kitchen, it's a key. It's key in addressing the food security. There are many of us who go hungry, but yet we waste a lot of food. So those are things some measures we need to put in place and see how we can tackle that problem.
Okay.
And so I believe, to me, it's more of sensitizing the public on the food waste management also. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that hopefully when you're making your next meal, you're thinking about it, you're thinking about portions, you're thinking about storage, you're thinking about what will happen with what's left over, and putting some more thought into some of those processes. Now, it's Inspirational Tuesdays that we do on Sunrise Live, and we want to delve, a little bit into what you think about the fact that, you're this great icon, and now with this new responsibility that you've got, I mean, it sort of puts you there with Angelina Jolie, Angelique Kidjo, Yusundur, Salif Keita, and some of these great African artists that we think about. How important is it for you to be able to do something with your status, with your position, with your sphere of influence?
To me, entertainers, are role models, and we are a mirror of society. So we sing, we entertain, yes, but we need to know that at the end of it all, whatever we sing about, there are guys out there watching. Your audience is watching, your fans is watching you. And so, how do you give back? I think at the end of the day, that is, you have to be cautious and say, wow, I've had this fan supporting me for this many, and they also want to see the other side of you.
Right.
I think so. And for me, it's quite an amazing. It's amazing on my end, and just to get this new role, and which comes with a lot of challenges. Believe you me, because it's been hectic just trying to plan.
Right.
To plan your timetable, just to know at what point you need to be. At what point you need to be singing? At what point do you need to be doing this?
That's right.
So yeah, I think at the end of it all is just managing your time also.
Okay.
And just telling people out there that music also is a career, just like any other career, you know. And there's a lot more than just singing.
Okay.
Yes.
Right, and I like that.
Yes.
And I also like the fact that you talked about you have to manage your diary a little bit more now. I would imagine, correct me if I'm wrong, with the work that you're doing tomorrow, Susanna, you could be doing something tomorrow that earns you money, instead of waking up and going to my kitty and saying this is something that I'm involved in. So having a role such as this means, you have to cede a little bit of it ceases to be about the money, and you do give up some of your time, because your time is very precious for anybody.
It's more of sacrifice.
Yes.
It comes with a lot of sacrifice. So you have to also balance. See, okay, if I do this, what value does it add? You know, at times it's not about the money. Believe you me, trust me, it's not about the money. Because if it were about the money, some of us wouldn't be where we are today.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And you wouldn't be doing this, would you?
Yes.
I mean, tomorrow you'd be in studio recording something or flying off somewhere to prepare for something. And so many people would say, oh, well, but that's easy for Susanna to say. It's not about the money. Because you've reached a certain level of success. And there's a lot of other people who are struggling and who say, well, I cannot do what Susanna is doing. I cannot take a day out of my life, a day or two or three, over time, and do something. What advice would you have for them who say, but I'm not as successful as Susanna, but I'm not sure if I want to give my time, I can't afford it, I'm going to make that money, I'm a hustler. What would you say to them?
I think first of all, patience, please. You have to be patient. And it's not in every career or any profession. Patience and also determination and hard work will pay. You'll have returns after that.
Right.
So as much as you want to be successful, it all calls for your individual, what is in your heart, what's your focus, or what you want to be. Fine, you want to be like so and so. You don't know what that person has gone through to be where she or he is. Right. So it calls, there are a lot of up and downs, which different people have their different stories. But for me, it's more of just knowing who you want to become at the end of the day.
All right. And charting your own course?
Yes.
Okay. And as much as you want to be like Susanna, but Susanna has gone through what Susanna has gone through, and you need to go through what you need to go through. You said, when we started talking about this, that, as artists, you're role models, and some people say, well, that's not really something I think about. It's not something I want to do. I don't want to be a role model. I want to be a singer. When we take a look at, being a female artist in the country, I know there's a myriad of challenges that they face, but thinking about the image that you put out there, is that something that needs to be done consciously, or does it just come naturally? And in terms of just deciding what your character is going to be, what your personality is going to be, to get to the point where UNEP can say, okay, Susanna, come, let's sit down and talk, we want to do something like this. Being a role model, being a female artist, and deciding what people get to see, know, and hear about you.
I think you just have to be you. Being you, just knowing who you are at the end of the day, because you cannot pretend to be somebody else. I sing in mother tongue mostly. It doesn't stop people from listening to my music.
Right.
In fact, people ask Susanna, okay, now you need to change your music. I'm like, okay, you want me to sing in English? I can sing in English. I can sing in Kiswahili, but I express myself better in Luo. Okay. In fact, when I'm composing my songs, I first think in Luo, then I can translate them in whatever language.
So you don't think in Swahili first and or English and then translate?
No, because to me, that's my culture.
Okay.
You know?
All right.
And this is something inborn, something that you have not bought from anyone. It's precious, and you have to be proud of it.
Right.
In fact, we should encourage more people to speak mother tongue. Believe you me, this is dying. This culture of mother tongue is dying, which, it's dying because we are more into yes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hello.
Yes.
Come on now.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
So this culture is dying. And so as role models, I believe we have a role, and part of it is just getting your space. You know, of wanting to, getting to your space, understand yourself. Right. You don't have to pretend to be so and so. It's you at the end of the day. You are a brand.
Yes.
Suzanne Owiyo. You cannot change to be somebody else.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And be proud of that and stick with it, because I think when you started, Kenyan music was at the point where we're all moving the Western way and we're having Western influences, and nothing wrong with that. And we applaud those artists as well.
When I started,
was it difficult?
When I started, there was more of Congolese music, I'd say, a lot of that, and Kenyan music didn't have space in the industry, but that has changed, and the fact that we had also few female singers around, but I'm so impressed now when I see a lot of female personalities in the music, in the music industry, in the music line, and because they say the world is dominated by male. Even in the industry, music industry, come on, it's dominated by male.
Okay.
Where are we women?
Right.
So we also need to create need to create our own space and be there.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. As we wrap up our conversation, I don't want us to forget why you are here, and that is Soko Bila Waste. Just remind us again, it's happening tomorrow at Marikiti, and how can I, be a part of it as an ordinary Mwananchi? Do I come after that? How can we get involved in this activity tomorrow?
You can come to Marikiti. It's open to public. And also, we are going to have different conversations online through my Twitter handle or through Soko Bila Waste Facebook page and stuff. So we will be sharing a lot more on the process in the market. And like I said, this is just the entry point. There's still more to come. So the public should be should know that I'm going to try and engage them more on the issue. All right.
And just before we go, there's a question here. I believe it regards how other people can work with you. Michael Wafula says, I'm a CEO of an NGO dealing with environment. Do you work with local NGOs who hold the same vision? Is there room and space for more people to come in and engage in this initiative?
Definitely. Okay. We're seeking partnership from everyone. Everyone who shares the same vision with us to come on board and see how we can support each other in this. Yes.
All right. So there you heard it, Michael Wafula. And we'll be telling you how you can contact Susanna and indeed this Soko Bila Waste initiative to make sure that you can do that. Susanna, we thank you so much for coming and for being an inspiration. And I like the fact that Susanna talks about, being you, and the fact that, we also have to, push our cultures, because I certainly can never find some words in English. And I often, not that I'm trying to push my mother tongue or anything, but there's certain words, there's certain things that you can only say in your mother tongue.
I know.
Even if you translate it, it loses its meaning. But we thank you for being you, and we thank you for using your position in society to now make a change and effect something. And it's probably something we don't usually think about, but that we absolutely must.
Thank you for
wastage. Suzanne Owiyo, thank you very much. She is the National Goodwill Ambassador for UNEP. She's an artist, she's a musician, and she says she's Kenyan first and then African, and then of course proud of her roots, and we are proud of her as well. Soko Bila Waste, it happens tomorrow at Marikiti, and you can feel free to join in with Suzanne Owiyo and all the people that she's partnering with, talking to the traders and finding areas of food waste. It is so important that some of these tiny little things that we do, affect our environment and affect, this for generations to come. I was reading a quote, I probably cannot remember it verbatim, but it's something about how we take care of the earth, and that the earth and all its resources are loaned to us by our children. not by our ancestors. It's by our children, so that we can look after it for them and for generations to come. So think about it. It may sound a little abstract, but as you're having some breakfast today, as you're having some lunch, what do you do with the food that is wasted? What do you do with the food that is left over? Is it something you toss in the trash, or do you keep it and use it later? These are some of the things that Suzanne Owiyo would like you to be able to think about every time you have that meal. I want to thank you for joining us on the show today. Yes, if you know what Eshivambile is in another mother tongue, please tweet it to me, or what it is in English or Swahili. Let's get that conversation going. All right. Thank you for joining us. In fact, Alfaya, you say it's a true delicacy in Western. Yes, it is. If you haven't eaten this and you're in Western Kenya, my God, besides chicken, this is definitely something you want to take a look at. All right. I want to leave you with my quote of the day today, and I hope it'll inspire you a little bit more. Here it goes. It says, defeat is not the worst of failures. Not to have tried is a true failure. Defeat is the worst of failures. Not to have tried is the failure. Think about that. Have a very great day. We will see you again tomorrow right here on KTN Sunrise Live. Have a great day ahead, and do not be wasteful. Bye.